D-Roy Cruz here, your life applications officer. I'm going to call this Good Rambling, Let's Be Honest, Part 2. I was watching some videos last night. My man Brandon talking and a bunch of other people talking, different videos. Everybody's, trying to get this whole transgender thing correct, and they're trying to speak to the transgender people and that. And then on top of that, I get up this morning and I'm watching videos on Bible translations and what's wrong and what they're doing to the King James Bible, how they're using all this modern, hearsay about finding all these different manuscripts and stuff to subtract what's already written, okay? And then I thought about atheism and how, as a Christian who has been in the world, as a Christian who has backslid, is a word in the Bible that we use to refer to people who left God and came back. A person who has backslid like 4 times. And this is a big deal to you that are not Christian, to you that, if you left the church ever for whatever reason, you should understand what I'm saying when I say the word backslide. When you leave the church because you got angry at the people of the church. And the Bible says every time you leave, you cast on 7 more demons. And so I've been tempted by all kinds of things. And if it wasn't for, let me say this, let me be very clear. If it wasn't for the aftershock, I guess I should say, or the sadness, the humiliation, okay, rejection. If it wasn't for me being used by people and having friends that stabbed me in the back, okay, if it wasn't for the things that should have never happened to me, the places I should have never been, the situations that I should have never been in, and I got caught up in these things, and people were very, very, very demonic about it when I arrived. They were very ignorant and disrespectful and used me. And I'm talking people in false religions as well as me trying to keep up with my friends as a fornicator and ending up in crazy situations and predicaments. And you think you know the people around you and you don't. And I thought I knew Christians and I didn't. I thought I knew people when I left God. I thought I got to know them. I thought they made me and gave me some form of comfort when I left God. And they didn't. They used me for their own mockery and for their own hatred towards God and for their own, pleasure, if you will. Okay, they used me. From the time I was a child to my previous marriage, people have used me. And, people will use everything. People have used my height. Well, I'm going to treat him a certain way because he's a small type of guy. And he's, he tries to act like he's all humble and meek. Well, I'm going to squash that. I'm going to treat him a certain way. And I'm like, dude, when was the last time you been in a fight? You ain't been in a fight since I've been in a fight. You don't know that if I want to get angry and I want to set it off up in here, you don't know you can beat me. When was the last time you was in a fight? Me and you around the same age. When the last time you been in a fight? You can't look at somebody and say that you can say anything you want to them because you can beat them in a fight, because you ain't been in no fights. Every time you had a chance to be in a fight, you walked away. I'm just saying. I'm using that for an example of how people think outside the box, because everybody's in one. It's just, you think your box is freedom. I think my box is freedom. You think your box keeps you safe. For example, an atheist is in a box because an atheist says that he's only allowed to believe in certain things. Even though he does believe in those things, he's only allowed to be honest and quote those things. If you believe anything other than what you can touch, if you believe anything other than what you can feel, then you do believe in God. Or you can tell yourself, well, I don't believe in God. Okay, it's the same thing. You believe in something higher than yourself. Maybe you believe in aliens until they actually exist, and you'll stop believing in them too. Everybody believes. Enough of that. Now, everybody believes in something higher than themselves. Period. Done. And if you believe in something higher than yourself, you can kiss my hide when you say you don't believe in God. Because the only difference is you not believing in God and me believing in God is that you don't believe in the God I believe in, but you believe in a God. Okay? In order to be a true atheist, this is where I agree with Matt Dillahunty, even though he practices magic. Okay, bite me. Okay. Even though I agree with Matt Dillahunty on this, that if you're gonna be a true atheist, you have to not believe in more than just the church or Christians and what they believe. You have to actually, you can't believe in demons. You can't believe in monsters. You can't believe in, universes that are not proven by science. You can't believe in anything that is not proven. Matt Dillahunty said that. If you can't believe in God, as he's getting older, he's starting to wake up, he's going to keep waking up until he eventually becomes a Christian. If you can't believe in God, that means you can't believe in anything that can't be proven. When you say I'm an atheist, that means that unless you can show me evidence that I can stick a fork in it or stick my finger in it physically, I don't believe in it. So therefore, why should a man believe that his wife loves him when women can look you straight in the face and then when they get a chance to be away from you for an hour or two, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on with your wife when she took 2 hours to take herself shopping. You don't know what your wife was doing when she went out of town for the weekend. You have to have faith that your wife is faithful to you. Okay? So atheists, everybody has faith in certain things, because without faith in certain things, you won't survive. Just like I watched a coworker of mine yesterday walk out of the bathroom without washing his hands. I should go on red alert. To me, this JA should be put, on blast. He should be, after we just went through COVID and everything, he should be public enemy number one. He should be the world's most wanted criminal, in my opinion. You working around people and food and medication and all like that, and you gonna sit there and get off the toilet after wiping your butt and handling your ding-a-ling and walk right past me and walk out of that bathroom without washing your hands. Oh, I should have put, where's the science? I should be put, oh my goodness. I should have chased after him before I could zip my pants up and punch him in the back of his head and say, what you doing, fool? Get back in there and wash your hands. Touching stuff that I touch. Okay, I'm dealing with the world we live in, understanding that he's not the only one. And like Jesus said, when you go to a restaurant, these are verses you didn't know was in the Bible. When you go to a restaurant to eat, have no conscience. Because if you have a conscience, you'll never eat anything that you didn't cook. You'll never be able to trust anybody else's food if you have a conscience. And some things we don't need to have a conscience about because they aren't spiritual and they aren't life-threatening. But some things we do have to have a conscience about. I think not washing your hands is, life-threatening. But the disciples, in a day when sanitation was worse than it is now, the disciples, were accused of not washing their hands. But I believe them not washing their hands was more of a situation to where, why wash my hands when I'm going to be walking and touching, and I'm not going to touch anybody else until I get to my destination. I'm not going to wash my hands for every quarter of a mile, or every 10 feet. What am I going to do? Wash my hands again? Where am I getting the water from? Just wash your hands when you get ready to eat. Wash your hands when you get ready to touch people, That's not life-threatening, but it is in the Bible that the disciples were condemned by the Pharisees for forgetting to wash their hands in a certain situation. There's so much in that Bible. I love it. But I also understand, something I want to say to you is that don't think that we Christians, and this is why a lot of Christians are, and I sympathize with them. A lot of Christians are falling backwards, and they're saying that homosexual attraction is real. I agree. I believe that some men, I believe the majority of men start off just experimenting with the whole gay thing, and then they decide that it's their thing, it's their favorite thing to do. But I think, a quarter of that majority is actually really gay. Like, they've never ever been attracted to anything that doesn't have a penis. as far as, But then, like the woman said, if you say that it's natural for men to feel, they have strong, they have attraction for homosexuality. You also have to say that you have to agree that men are attracted to pedophilia. And why is this a situation with men? Why are there more trans women than there are trans men? And why is pedophilia a man thing instead of a woman thing as well? The numbers are always smaller with women. There's a reason for that. And I believe it's because we're masculine no matter what. There is no feminine model for a man. Even a beta male is not feminine. He just isn't. Because only a man wants to do more with sex than, make love and put each other's organs together and make that love more intimate. Only a man wants to do more than that. Women, even gay women, that's what they want. They want what they're not getting from men. I'm sorry, that's just my belief. And gay women are faster to be bisexual than gay men. Okay? Because if a man could love you for once in your life with everything he's got in his body and in his emotions, if he could really love a woman for a night, most women don't want to miss that. They, if they meet up with somebody and, what I'm saying, he's not hitting on her, he's not trying to simp, but she finds him attractive and, and she understands that he can do for her what her lesbian lovers can do. Okay? Without him have to give himself whiplash or tongue lash or ring finger lash or whatever. He can actually use his body. Okay? And the other things is foreplay to give a woman the best night of her life. And vice versa. A woman can use her vagina based upon her strong feelings for this man, whether they came over time or whether they came at once. She can use her vagina to give this man something that a gay man can never, ever give him. And when they get done, the only fear is pregnancy. There's less reason for STDs, unless they both have been very sexually promiscuous. There's less reasons for STDs. There's less reasons to worry about anything. The only thing you're worried about is getting pregnant. And sex is that simple. But let's not act like all of us at some point wasn't looking, wasn't thinking. Okay? Because men are attracted to women morally. They're not attracted to women based on, they just want to. And now today, more and more men are into anal sex. Okay? And some men won't even be with a woman unless she's into anal sex. To me, that's kind of gay. Okay? But then again, on a flip note, there are women today that are into more anal sex. This is an issue. This is a thing of the times. You also have more men today having trans women for lovers. more trans women for lovers than for marriage. But there are men out there that are married to trans women. And do I feel that they're gay? Bisexual is the term, but even in that, again, we are attracted to women morally. But when it comes to just wanting to get off, wanting to be satisfied or pleasured, okay, it doesn't take the opposite sex. It takes whatever you got to do to be satisfied and pleasured. And again, we all didn't miss it. We all saw it. We all was thinking about it. I remember when I was in a place where, I was around a lot of homosexuals, and, I was in secondary school, Job Corps and that, around a lot of homosexuals. And there were homosexuals in particular that they couldn't walk through a room. A trans dude, actually, trans woman. Nobody could, well, actually, he would be called a sissy because he was in transition. Now, today, this person is a trans woman. But at that time, he was wearing women's clothes and shaving his legs and painting his nails. He had hair all the way down his back, wearing makeup and all like that. He was good at it. He was good at it. See, there's some trans women and there's some sissies that look like, men in a dress. But there are some trans women and some sissies, okay? And even for some men, it's not whether or not they can tell you're a man or not. It's whether they can look at you and say, you look good with that makeup on, or you look good with that. If I confirm that a man is beautiful, and he's even more beautiful if he's wearing tight jeans or he's wearing a mini skirt or whatever, okay, I need to run. Because the minute that I can look at him and find out he's beautiful, okay. There's a guy in the Philippines who went to the Philippines and found out that lady boys in the Philippines are a lot prettier than the ones here in America. And he found a lady boy that was probably, he thought this was a woman. He thought this was a woman. And we all thought this was a woman. This boy, I'm 5'3". This boy, he's in his 20s. It's 5'1". And he approached this guy thinking that he was a bar girl. And when he realized, when the dude just let everybody in the room know, I'm lady boy. I'm lady boy. Y'all seen that video. I'm lady boy. I'm not a man. I'm not a woman. No, he didn't say, I'm not a man. He was very honest. He said, I'm not a woman. I'm lady boy. And ever since that video, every video he's ever done now is on lady boys. And everybody's saying, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. You want to hit it, man, And now he has this thing for lady boys. He's not going to let you catch him in bed with one, but come on. When you spend that much time, it's not like you're out there to deliver the lady boys or make the lady boys feel like they're part of the heterosexual community. You're out there because you have this new thing for lady boys. Ever since you found out that you get a dude that's the size of a woman or smaller, and he becomes a lady boy, we're all in trouble. If we don't know the difference right away, if you got to go up to her or him and find out that he's not what you thought she was, we're in trouble. Okay? Especially if we are walking around looking for sex, looking for some action. The only thing that keeps any man in his sanity about sexuality is the fact that he is not looking, he's letting it happen. He's not shopping, he's not hunting. There's something beeping in my house. Let me see something. Yeah, it's beeping. Not me. Not me. It'll go out in a second. There it is. That's my sink. That's my tub. When I have I don't know what's going on, but when I have my handles pulled all the way hard to the left, because they drip, and I want to make sure, and I keep my stopper I keep my stopper in all my sinks, and I leave a little bit of water in there because I've caught roaches coming up through my drains. And the pest people came in here the other day, and they asked me, and I said, well, I haven't had any problems since summertime. But I said, since summertime, I've been locking all my drains. I overflooded my house not too long ago doing that because I ran water in my sink and forgot to, open my drain when I did it. And I come in here and I'm on Bluetooth like I am right now. And I didn't hear the water running. I got my computer on Bluetooth. I didn't hear the water running. And before I knew it, it come right out here on the floor like, whoa. And I went in there, my whole kitchen. Oh, Lord. My whole kitchen looked like I could swim in it. So, but yeah, the roaches coming right up through the drain. And so, you see a roach, you clean up your house and you do everything to make sure and see where they're coming from and all like that. And you're putting traps down, you're putting spray down and all like that. And the spray works, especially if you get like these new sprays out that are like peppermint spray and stuff. They have like these candy smelling, oils inside of them. Oh, they keep the bugs out for a long time, but they keep coming back. So these guys came in here the other day. I let them know about the drain. Now, the one was a maintenance man, the one was pest control. The pest control guy knew that this is common, depending on where you live, that bugs can come through the drain, depending on where you live and depending on the plumbing. They'll come right through your drains in little places like this where I live. And he said there are products that he can, when he comes back, he can throw right down in that drain so I won't have to keep water in all my sinks and put a stopper over the hole, put water in the sink so they won't come up through the drain. But when my drains get dry, here they come. You turn your water off and you leave the house for 8 hours or 5 to 8 hours, boom. Here they come. It's something in the plumbing or something. And I've sprayed the right spray down in the drain as well. And that helps. But to make sure they don't come back in, I just cover up the drain. Now, that's enough of that. But for any of you that have had this situation, let me know. But I kind of feel for gay people and trans people because I know some gay people, I know some trans people. And I heard Dylan, you know, everybody's famous Dylan. Boy, was he looking pretty in this one video that he just did. Ever since he won that award, I forget what that award was about. But, I mean, he really looked like a hot blonde in this picture. And I'm looking at him, and I'm trying to look at his face, and I'm trying to look at all the manly features in his face. He really got him covered up. Okay? And, I mean, his voice has even become more feminine since he got that award. And, you know, he's moving around and talking exactly like a woman. And what he was talking about is how he found God. And he's coming back to God. And there's a lot of haters out there that, now, what is his name? His name is Dylan. Let me see something here. Okay, let me see something here. Let me see. I'll get you his name. I forget his name. He has a long last name, I believe. What are you talking about? Why are you in there? Did nobody give you permission to go in there? Let's see something here. What kind of crap you putting me through? There you go. All right. There we go. There she is. What's his name? Dylan Mulvaney. That's him. Dylan Mulvaney. These are older pictures here. He looks like a dude. He looks like a dude in a dress. But just recent, was it Brandon Tatum or I think it was the Patriot Twins. That did a video of him recently. No, it wasn't the Patriot Twins. It was a Christian guy. Was it Nick Jones? It was Ruslan. I was watching Ruslan yesterday. And he did this new video. Yeah, it was Ruslan. He did this new video of Dylan Mulvaney. He dyed his hair blonde. And this is after the award and all like that, Bud Light and all that kind of stuff. He was on there looking very, very, very feminine. I mean, everything from, I don't know if he had more surgery or what was going on, but I'm looking at these pictures here. You can see the guy in him in these photos with the black hair and all like that. But in this particular video, if I did not know, because I've seen enough of his, connections all over the place, him being commercialized everywhere. If I did not know him, I would have thought that was a woman. And I would have thought, oh, check out the hot blonde, This is the thing. I believe that trans women are here for one purpose, and it's very demonic. And I believe they are to make, and this is why gay sex, not your feelings about homosexuality, you can get help for that. Well, you can get help for it all, but it starts off with you actually committing the sin. I believe personally that trans women are all about making straight men. Because, okay, you have a trans woman in most cases. Now, trans women are everywhere. They're in porn. I mean, there's tons of trans women in porn. There's tons of trans women out there prostituting themselves. And there's trans women that are just models. There's trans women that are like escorts. There's trans women. They were yesterday. They were talking about an old Biggie video where a trans woman was used in a video, and I mean, what you thought was pro-black was actually pro-trans. Okay. And, you know, a lot of the artistry and the talent was pro-trans, okay? But, you know, now all these men, going in that video saying, oh, that hot chick in that video, I got to go see that video again. They're just now coming out and saying that was a trans woman that did that video. That's why when the video was over, there was no tracking you couldn't follow this person around on social media, because to protect Biggie and to protect the crew, they didn't want you to know that was a trans woman. Now, Biggie didn't pick her or him. It was his producers that picked this trans woman because she was the best person for the job of what he was trying to do. And it had nothing to do with trying to promote homosexuality or trans women. It was a video where they needed a woman to be able to dance a certain way. They needed her to be so many feet tall, blah, 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 and they picked a trans woman. Okay? And all that time, they couldn't understand what was so mysterious about this woman, and now they know that's a trans woman. And I believe, and then we're seeing all these videos popping up right now where men are hooking up with trans women, and we see all these videos where men are being fooled by trans women. Like a lot of basketball players and football players, and that guy will say, hey, what do you think about this woman? Ooh, baby. Ooh, that's hot. Where, that's your girl? Who is that? Who is that? Like, you know. And they're like, oh, you want to hook up? You want to hook up? You want to hook up? And it's like, yeah, I'll take her out. Okay, that's a trans woman. You're like, mother, how you gonna play me like that, man? Nuh-uh, you lying. That ain't no trans woman. It's a trans woman, bro. Okay? Do you want me to bring her on the show? Or now they wanna bring her on the show. Reminds me of my Job Corps days where trans women would come around, or these sissies would come around, which is almost the same thing. They look like, you're going from the old Mulvaney to the new improved Mulvaney, okay? The old Mulvaney looked like a dude wearing women's clothes. The new improved Mulvaney, okay, looks like, the trans woman from Trans Heaven, okay? Now she's all blonde. He, I should say, is all blonde and oily, and his skin is sparkling and all like that in front of the camera anyway. And I gotta admit, I've never seen a trans woman, not that many anyway, prettier than the ones on TV. Prettier than we start off with the ones that are in movies that you didn't know were trans women until now. The ones that are in music videos and little skits and stuff, you didn't know they were trans women until now. Okay? And then, you have those, and then you have people that you meet out here in real life, and you taking a second look, and you looking behind you, and you laughing with your friends about it. Okay? But you know that that's a dude, but just because it's a dude, that didn't keep you from looking. Just because it's a dude, that didn't keep you from thinking about it. Because if you wasn't thinking about it, it would never came out of your mouth. I remember when I was in Job Corps, these guys would get, there's a dude there, a friend of mine that I made friends with. I had two friends. One was gay and one was trans, or a sissy, if you want to say that. He was a sissy. They call that a sissy. When you look like a woman, when you look like a woman, but you're not trans, they call that a sissy. Okay. They did my hair, and they had to share the barbershop downstairs with straight men. And all these straight men would talk about was these trans women. Now, when you got to pick on a trans woman that much, I'm like, do I see an erection, dude, coming up in your pants? Like, why are you just picking on this woman like this? Like y'all should try to get past the fact that she, and this one guy, he was real masculine, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, he was in the Crips gang. I think it was Crips. And he was like constantly going after RJ, like, and saying stuff to RJ like, put a condom on your tongue and all this kind of stuff. And RJ was very confident. He would say, well, I can do more. If you think I'm good with my tongue, okay, I got some other things I'm good with too, And they would all laugh and say, she got you, man. You better get back and cutting hair, dude, But the thing is, I believe personally, as a believer, as a Christian, I believe that trans women are here. They are the aliens of the breakdown, the tear down of the church. They are the aliens of the tear down of the sexual revolution. The sexual revolution began to go downhill. It started with women's lib. It started when women wanted to be men and wanted to do manly things and have the same rights and all that as men. And then it went from that to gayism, queerism, and now transgenderism. Okay? All this is going on. It's the breakdown of the human nuclear family. It's the breakdown of the Christian family. It's the breakdown. It's tearing it down. It's tearing these groups down. As more and more pastors are starting to have this compassion, and there's nothing wrong with you wanting compassion for people to be saved, but we're not going to waste time on anybody's sexuality. And I agree with the woman who said, and she was trans. She said, he was trans. He said, if you understand gay attraction, you also have to understand pedophilia. And if atheists disagree, you need to switch sides. You need to quit being an atheist. Because we're in science. Because that's all you got. We're in science. Because that's what you use. We're in science. Can you prove that it's wrong for a man to want to sleep with children? If we can go from men wanting to sleep with men, okay? And if you've ever listened to a little girl talk about, you listen to a woman even that talked about her sexual abuse as a child or her sexual molestation as a child. Now, I don't necessarily relate sexual abuse and sexual molestation as the same thing. Because I believe that you can rape a child or blackmail a child to do things for you and stuff like that. But when you fondle a child and you show a child how to become connected with her desire to be a woman and to feel what women feel, and to the point to where she, over time wants to be penetrated at a very early age. She wants to, when a young girl is in a situation where her parents aren't active enough in her life and she's starving for love, and some man comes to the scenes that's showing her he's opening up a cage when all the other little girls out there playing with Barbie dolls and playing in tree houses and all like that. He's showing her how to become aroused. And a lot of these men, some of them are rapists, but a lot of them will take forever. I used to babysit a girl who was separated from her father because of his attraction to his own daughter. Okay. And he never raped his daughter. He never forced her. But he was attracted to her. He would touch her. He would say things to her, about, she can do better than her mom. And it was really satanic. And, and she used to come to my house crying. I was married back then, but she used to come between me and my wife crying. And nobody believed her. Nobody believed that her dad was like this. Nobody believed that her dad struggled with this, but he did. And there's only one thing to make this video not so long. There's only one thing. And that is to take what we understand to be the norm and to be what is right and stick to it. If you feel that heterosexual is right, whether you're gay or straight, it's just like, again, looking at them translations of the Bible. Either the King James Bible is a heretic or it's not. That means that if if you know anything about Bible translation, either the King James is wrong or all these other translations are wrong. Very simple. Same way with human sexuality. Either heterosexuality is wrong or all these other forms of sex are, number one, not real sex. Number two, they're wrong. Because what they do to the nuclear family, what they do to our society. It doesn't matter what I'm attracted to. It doesn't matter what you are attracted to. It doesn't matter if women are not getting along with men, so they're seeking out other forms of pleasure and cohabitation. It doesn't matter if men aren't getting along with their fathers, and their mothers, and so they're seeking love elsewhere, and in a total different state and frame of mind and being. It does not matter what your action is. What matters is what is the standard. And if there is a standard, then everything else is just, circles around the standard or throwing dirt on the standard. That's it. Doesn't matter how many men are now giving in to transgenderism and how many men are marrying transgender women. Do I think that a transgender man, do I think that a man that's married to a transgender woman is gay? Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. Transgender women are stable in all their ways. It would be wrong for a man to hook up with a trans woman and never practice fellatio on her? Right? Whether he got a post-op down there or whether he got his good old sklong down there, it would be unfair for, a man like women out there on the street that are trans women out there on the street that are prostitutes, or letting men pay them to take them somewhere and hit it from behind, behind a dumpster, hit it from behind, or take them to a hotel or somewhere where no one's going to bust them with a trans woman, okay, hitting it from behind and then paying their money and going their separate ways. But when you're in a relationship with a trans woman, that trans woman expects you to treat her like a woman or him like a woman. And what do women expect you to do? There's a lot of women that won't go down on men, but oh, God help you if you think you ain't going to go down on her. You won't have a relationship. A man can let a woman tell him she doesn't practice fellatio. She doesn't go down on a man. But if a man say, I don't go down on a woman, oh, really? Okay. You probably won't be with a woman. Okay? And it's the same way with a trans woman. Trans women know this. This is why they tell men when they're in a relationship with them, in order for you to be in a relationship with a trans woman, you have to do certain things. And a lot of trans women, because they still have their healthy old sklong, never got rid of it. They want some humping action too. They want to penetrate something. It's in their DNA. It's in their sexual capacity to penetrate something. So now you got a man who claiming to be straight, but he's not only going down on his lover, he's bending over for his lover. And this is the thing about a trans woman. A trans woman knows she's playing a role. So if the trans person is playing a role, that role can change at any time. But when you're playing a role based on your genetic makeup, you're content. But see, if you read the headlines, you're finding out that a lot of trans women are going from being in relationships with straight men to being lesbians, back to being gay, okay, to being sugar babies or sugar mamas, okay, in the trans community, back to being with straight men, and they're just moving around, very fickle how they want to do it. Ask any trans woman what is her sexuality, and she'll say she wants to keep that private, or she's into various types of sexuality. Why? Because he has no immediate, definite form of sexuality, because he's ruined his genetic makeup by being trans. And so he's in a predicament where he can be a lesbian, but he's pretty enough where he can bend over too for a man. Okay? And that's what most of these trans women are doing. They're doing both. And then they want to sit there and say, well, I'm into God, like, Dylan, I'm into God, and God is working on me and all like that. Okay. How are you going to transition back? How are you going to fulfill your male DNA in the presence of God? And I don't know, Dylan might be cut. Okay? If Dylan got cut, Now me, I don't know what to say if I fell into that kind of situation and I got cut. I mean, I don't know what I would do. I would probably be out there like a lot of people trying to justify and say, well, I'm cut. So I'd have to say that I'm a woman. And even though I'm not, I'd have to say that I'm a woman. And any man that comes near me understands I'm a woman. And even though I'm a Christian, I'm a woman because I got cut. So any man that comes near me understands that forget about my past and all due to Christendom, forget about my past and focus on the fact that I have the features to be a woman. Except I probably can't get pregnant. Okay, which you don't have the features to be a woman. I don't believe that thing feels like an actual vagina. I don't believe it, it receives orgasm like real women receives orgasms. I don't believe it can take, hours and hours of lovemaking like a real vagina can. I just don't. And I think that when we sit there and we say hell to pay for our sins, why would God send people to hell forever and ever and ever? I'm not so mad at the trans community. I'm mad at the people that support the trans community to the point of putting their dirty hands into the trans community and performing these operations, not only on, ripe age men, but on children. And not only that, but, all the drugs involved and the silicone and the cutting and, oh my God. Some things we don't need to engage in. We need to wait till we're ready to engage in what there is to engage in. Let me say that again. Some things we don't need to engage. We need to wait until we're ready to engage in what is available to engage in, so that we are pure of what's coming if we don't engage right. And there's things, again, that happened in my life. I mean, after what I've been through in my life, I could have been a trans woman. I could have been, trying to find myself sexually if it wasn't for the church. Because things like rejection and things like, lack of father in the home and, getting mad at the church. Like I said, I backslid 4 times. Will cause you, when the church hurts your feelings, it will cause you to go places and try out things that you don't want to do because you're trying to find yourself. But thank God for rejection. Thank God for the pain. Thank God that the world did not welcome me into the world with open arms. They used me. They beat me up. They lied to me. They stabbed me in my back. Thank God for all the people that hurt me. Because if they didn't hurt me, I wouldn't be doing this video. I'd probably be in that video standing next to Mulvaney. Standing next to him talking about, hey girls, what we want to talk about to you today, girls. I mean, who knows where I would be? Because God allowed me to go through some things. He really has. And if I didn't go through them, because when I went through them, they led me to pay attention to what you're doing and to what he's doing and what she's doing. I started having a soft heart. That's one of the reasons why I started having a soft heart for people that are, outside my box and in your box. I started coming into your box a little bit. And they used me. They stabbed me in the back. They lied to me. And if it wasn't for that, 1989, I came back to the Lord for the second time. And I met my wife. She was another one to use me and disrespected me and made me feel like less of a man. Accused me, misjudged me over time. And even though she apologized for it later, when we were getting a divorce, it happened. So where does that leave me? It leaves me alone with God. It leaves me alone with God. And if I ever get married again, not only will I not let the next woman disrespect me and lie to me and manipulate me, but I will be the better man because I will make sure I got my stuff together and I'm doing my part before I even let a woman in. Before I even let a woman into my life, I got to get myself together. I got to have all the corners covered. It's like having a new baby come in. You got to have the crib, the clothes, the milk, the Similac. You got to be ready to breastfeed. You got to have the baby food. You got to have it all ready. You got to have all this financially and intellectually figured out. And all hands got to be on deck. Same way with getting into a marriage. It's a new birth. You got a new one coming into your life. All you people out there sticking your wang-wangs wherever you can get off, all you women just concerned about your own orgasm, and you don't care what sex or what the person looks like or what they smell like or where they been that's on top of you. That's not real sex. That's not love. Love does not run you through the ringer before you decide what love is. Love does not teach you what love is by running you through the ringer. You know what love is, period. When you go through the ringer, you got to work your way back home to love. You don't let love, you don't say, oh, well, I've been through this, so I found out I was gay. I've been through this, I've been through that, so, I found out I was transgender. No, you found out that you're way out there. You're way out there. You're way far away from home. I don't care what part of the world you grew up in. I don't care what state, city, country. I don't care what part of town. I don't care what group of people. Home is where God spit you. I don't care if you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see. I don't care if you don't like your body. I don't care if you done lost your mind and think that God created you in the opposite sex body. You're a man, but You a man and you a woman in a man's body or a man in a woman's body. I don't care if you thought God made those kind of mistakes. You know, and I know, and everybody knows that the standard is the standard. It's not going anywhere. And we can turn this world into no babies being born because men and women aren't sleeping together anymore. Men and women aren't getting married anymore. Okay? To having these clones and having these alien babies that we insisted on making a man get pregnant. We insisted on making, a woman be able to have a child when her girlfriend's a lesbian. If these kids aren't coming out naturally, if it is God that makes children, sure, women get pregnant, but it is God that creates children. It's not your pregnancy. It is God that creates the DNA. It's God that creates life in a woman's womb. Or else there would be no barren women. There would be no, one woman having sex with all these men and never gets pregnant when she's fertile enough to get pregnant. Okay? And then this woman here taking birth control, and she's fertile enough. Oh boy, was she fertile. First man that ever slept with her, okay, without a condom, got her pregnant. While she was taking birth control. It is God. My wife, when we had our first child, she was taking birth control when she got pregnant with my Rachel. We had planned on having kids, but, not that soon. But we had planned. She was wearing the patch when she had my Rachel. No, when she had my Gabby. I take that back. When she had my youngest daughter, we wanted to wait a while before we had another kid. That's why my girls are like a year apart, because we wanted to wait a while and give her body a rest and everything before she had another child. My Gabby, my youngest, came while my wife was taking birth control. She was wearing the patch for months. And she still got pregnant with my Gabby. Okay? It is God that puts children in the womb. It is not science. Science puts clones. And, once these creatures are born, okay? Once these creatures are born, it has not been proven what kind of people they will be like. Okay? They might all be murderers and molesters, and they might just be, adrenaline and nothing else. Just going around raping everybody. Okay? Doing what, who knows? Then you got men doing the perverted thing today of just donating their sperm. Whack off into a test tube or whack off into a cup or whatever while you watch porn or whatever. And put your sperm and your DNA up there for sale. Maybe I should try that. I need some money. I wonder how much. I got good sperm. I make beautiful children. I wonder how much money they give you for that. God forbid. I need the money, but God forbid. I would never do that. It's wrong. It's wrong. And if you don't think it's wrong, that goes to my last answer. Without God, now they're saying that there are people that don't believe in God that are not atheists. They don't want to be defined as atheists. They just simply don't believe in God. So without God, it does not matter. You got that one, atheist. Without God, morality is whatever we make it. So, pedophilia, okay? A man is not strong enough to protect his wife from being blackmailed into all these relationships with other men. Do we have to make new court laws and rulings for all these different sexual escapades? Men in America going into polygamy in the United States? Total opposite of what polygamy is all about. Polygamy is not about sex. Polygamy is not about, you having all these women because you can afford it. Polygamy is a third world thing. And polygamy was used to save the lives of women who, they were using a man's name for their own protection and using a man's and bringing families in the nations, okay, to keep that nation in power, bringing children into that nation under a certain name, which not only protected them, but kept the nation within a certain race or a certain set of races that were in a treaty with each other, and so on and so on. But polygamy was only pleasurable to kings. And what does the Bible say about King Solomon? King Solomon's wives turned his heart away from God. He had many wives and concubines. But in the book of Solomon, 2 books over, Solomon settled down with one woman. I need to read up on that, how that happened. He settled down with one woman and he was absolutely crazy in love with her. Never mentioned the word women, plural, ever again. He loved one woman in the book of Solomon. And I don't know if he was still king and let all his wives go. And, I need to find out. I don't know if he was a king in the book of Solomon or if he lost the kingdom. I believe he lost the kingdom. I believe he lost the kingdom. The kingdom got taken over by another. But he settled down with one woman. Either way, whether he was a king or not, he settled down with one woman. And he loved that woman. And she settled down with Solomon. And they had romantic love that's not really mentioned that much in the Bible. A few times, like Sarah and Abraham, Rebecca and Isaac. Very romantic love. Very strong love. Okay? But then Solomon had all those wives. So did David. David's relationships didn't seem very romantic. When he met Abigail, I got an erection the way, I was reading about him and Abigail, but then I realized that this is kind of third world. The way he killed her husband or was going to kill her husband. And he delivered her from her husband. And I forget whether, her husband did die. I think her husband did die. But she kept David from killing him. And when her husband did die, she ran to David like a bat out of hell. David had more than one wife. He had Abigail, he had Michal. I think he still had Michal when he met Abigail. And of course, you can see later on that Michal was jealous of his love relationships and decided to curse David. And even though she was giving David children, and David told her, I'm not giving you any more children. I'm not having no more children by you. Now, some might translate that as I'll never have sex with you ever again. Okay. because after, it was her, then Abigail, and then he had more wives. And I don't know if it tells what happened to Abigail, but quote me if I'm wrong. But my point is, Solomon went back to the standard of loving one woman. And when you read the book of Genesis, you understand about Adam and Eve. The symbolism is more real than the story. And it makes a lot of sense. Okay? If you're having trouble with the symbolism, if you're having trouble with the story, that might be fine. But if you're having trouble with the symbolism, it's because you don't want to accept that God is a lot smarter than you'll ever be. God is a lot smarter than any other God you believe in or give credit to or claim exists and claim to compete, that can compete with God. God is smarter. And my God created the first man and woman in the Garden of Eden. And all this Eve had to worry about was being next to her man and having his back. That's all she had to worry about. Bible says a helpmate suitable for him. And what do women want to do today? They want to compete with men. They want jobs above men. They want to make more money than men. They want to control men. They want to stop having children but they don't want to stop having sex, but they want to stop having children. They want to tell themselves that no man is worthy of all. That's what the whole cleavage is about. The whole tight jeans, tight dress wearing, leggings and walking out in the middle of the street with them high heels with hardly nothing on. That's all because that represents one thing. And that is that no man is worthy of all a woman has or can give. If a woman is really that beautiful, you only get a turn. You only get to be lucky. You don't get all of it. And your meter is ticking. You run out of money, you lose your woman. You run out of sex appeal, you lose your woman. You raise your voice, you lose your woman. You ain't there when she wants you to be there, you lose your woman. If you're there too much and she wants you out of the house, you lose your woman. If she want to be out and away from you and you don't like it, you lose your woman. You can't tell her what the rules are. You might be able to tell your tranny what the rules are because he's trying to catch up to your woman. He's trying to beat your woman at being feminine. So he might say, "What do you want for dinner, dear? Would you like a cup of coffee, dear? Would you like me to prop your feet up, dear? Would you like a back rub, dear?" And then turn around and ask you if you want to go down on him. Who's going to go down on who first, dear? Would you like me to penetrate you first, or would you like to penetrate me first? I don't mind as long as we both get it. I'm DeRoy Cruz. I'm your life applications officer. I'm out of here. I have to put in discretion advised. But, we have to go deep down in and really talk about it. I'm willing to go to that place where, was it Joe Walsh or Mike Walsh? Joe Walsh ain't gonna go. I'm willing to go to that place where Candace Owens ain't gonna go. I'm going to talk with Dylan Mulvaney is covering up. I'm going all the way in. Because when you really, really think about it, you have to catch up with yourself, and it hurts. Because if you're already trans, this is the hardest thing about being trans or gay. Once you catch up with yourself, and you will, it's going to hurt like a bullet. It's going to hurt like a heart attack. It's going to hurt like a panic attack when you finally catch up with yourself. And it's sad because it's like God allowed you to go through these things. And this is the only thing I don't understand about God. You don't like homosexuality. Why are you letting these poor kids fall into it so easily today? I mean, years ago, people had to be molested to be gay. Now it's like, hey, Mom, can I be gay? Hey, Mom, can is it wrong for a man to go down on another man? Hey, Mom, what's anal sex like? Hey, Mom, do you think I look good in this wig? Hey, Mom, do you think I look good in a dress, or would that make you angry? Because my teacher's in school, and I got this friend in school. But where do we begin to really, 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 really catch up with ourselves? Oh boy, when we catch up with ourselves, it's going to be the worst panic attack ever. And it has been. A lot of trans people commit suicide when they come to that place. And I'm asking God, I'm praying for the transgender community, because all these people, we can argue and you can call me a bigot and say I shouldn't be talking about it, and it's gay of me to go in there and talk about these things and all this kind of stuff. But guess what? When we finally catch up with ourselves and we have a problem with the standard Bible, as well as the standard sexuality, as well as the standard book on what is sin and what is not, what is righteousness and what is sin. When we catch up with ourselves, everybody from the LGBTQ community all the way to the church, when we catch up with ourselves, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And a lot of people are committing suicide over it. And I'm asking God, why would you let these kids? Oh, you know why? Because free will costs everybody. Oh, hallelujah. It's the best thing I ever said. And it's true. Free will costs everybody. How does a man have free will to be a pervert and be a rapist if he never raped anybody? Somebody out there has to be a specimen of his free will. How does a man having perverted feelings about sex, how does he have free will if he never slept with a kid? If he never slept with the same sex? If he never slept with your mama or your sister or his mama, your sister or his sister? How can we prove sin if we don't let sin? Oh, hallelujah. How can we prove sin if we don't let sin happen? This is why, if you have a wife, if you have a daughter, you have to teach your wife, your daughters, and your sons the right things. You have to protect your household by keeping them grounded in the Bible and grounded in the church. Because why? All these perverts are out there waiting for them. Adulterers, rapists, molesters, and the LGBTQ community. Lesbians are waiting on your wives. Rapists are waiting on your wives, your daughters, and your sons. And gay people are waiting on your sons. Trans women are waiting on your sons. Trans women are waiting on your husband. The standard is the standard. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Oh, you can make it. Oh, you can wash it away. You can wash it away. That's just like 1980 here in Pittsburgh. It's over. It's gone. But that doesn't change the fact that we were better at one time. That doesn't change the fact that once all this stuff didn't exist, we got along just fine. Racism was less a problem back in the 1980s than it is in the 2000s. Wasn't nobody going around here playing the race card every day. There wasn't black on black crime constantly everywhere in every single 50 states like it is today. There wasn't people going in churches and just gunning down everybody. You cannot tell me if you weren't there. I understand because you weren't there. But I was there. 80s was a good year. It existed, and people like me, when we look back in time, we realize how stupid we are today. It's a fact. When Donald Trump says, let's make America great again, that's what he's talking about. Today, when coal miners were coal miners and they were willing to die to make sure you got your coal. When soldiers were soldiers and they were willing to die to make sure this continued to be the red, white, and blue in the land of the free and the land of the great. From sea to shining sea, baby. When mamas were mamas, teachers were teachers. Your teacher whoop your butt like your mama whoop your butt. You go to messing that stuff up, doing that crap in school. And if a woman can't handle you, the male teachers will bang your head up against the wall and leave you on the ground unconscious and drag your butt out of there. Have the cops drag your butt out of there. Oh, your son tried to hit a female teacher. I had to knock him out. What do we got now? Metal detectors. We got cops in school. Late. You got wall-to-wall cops, and still teachers are beaten. Now, I do remember, a time in history, is before my time, when actually teachers in these ghetto schools, teachers were raped constantly. It was a natural thing for gangbangers to rape teachers. And that might have been in the 70s, I don't know. But the 80s was a time of rebuilding. And it was a time when people came back to God again. 9/11 was the beginning and the end. Once we healed from 9/11, the world just went. Once we healed of that, we went so complacent, we went gay. Okay? But I am Dior Cruz. I am your life applications officer. I'm out. God bless.